So I'm joined by Paul Crawford, who's the head of esports here at Motorsport UK, getting ready for another season in British Formula 4 Esports. This is going to be interesting.
Yes, season 3 British F4 Esports Championship. We obviously run the real world British F4 Championship, and we've kind of taken that and taken it to the virtual world in esports. Season 3, a lot of big names returning, but some have disappeared and been replaced by others, so it's going to be a very interesting season, I think.
Yeah, I think we'll touch on that in a second. Obviously, being the third season, we've built on quite a lot over the 3 seasons. Obviously now going out on iRacing, their channel and broadcast stuff, like everything's changing season on season. How hard is that behind the scenes?
Yeah, it's quite challenging, but it's also really rewarding trying to grow this championship into one of like the premier British Championship. And yeah, partnering with iRacing for this year has been really good. Directly, they've kindly offered to broadcast it across their channels, so hopefully we'll get a lot more eyeballs on it, which is what we all want for esports and sim racing. Going through the process of getting teams signed back up and partners and getting prizes in place is a lot of hard work, especially with all the other championships that we run. Yeah,
we know the racing's always excellent in British Formula 4 Esports, and obviously we've seen that over the last couple of years. Normally with the Apex Racing team towards the front, but I think that's the big talking point coming to this one. They're not here.
No, so yeah, last year they won Team and Drivers Championship, and in first season they won the Drivers Championship with Lewis McGlade, who won both. But yeah, they're not coming back for 2024, which is a shame, but that's their decision. So we are guaranteed a new winner because Luke is not here and Apex are not here. So yeah, definitely wide open season, new teams who are, we don't know their form coming into it. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting, I think.
Yeah, it means there's a lot for us to look back on stats-wise, lots for us to look forward to. Of course, who are we really looking forward to? Obviously, Williams Esports are back. They have 2 teams now with Williams Esports Academy as well. Yeah. They've got Alex Sept back, who, of course, I was telling you a bit earlier, is the driver who had the first ever pole position in British Formula 4 Esports and still hasn't won, so that's fine. Seeing some names like that back, it's very interesting what they can do.
Yeah, I would say that, on form and the fact that they are coming back for a 3rd season, I'd probably say that they are one of the main favourites for the team championship. They know how to race in the championship. They know the circuits. And I'd say, Alex Sept is probably one of the favourites for the drivers championship as well. But yeah, lots of other names coming in. One of the big names, kind of Ferrari, have joined the championship. Graham Carroll, a big name within esports, but there's a lot of talent throughout the whole grid.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what Graham Carroll will do. Obviously, we've seen him in the Porsche Tagore Esports Super Cup and various other things. Obviously, we've got Oulton, somebody who also has World Championship experience on iRacing with the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, back in the day. Somebody who's got a lot of experience generally in sim racing. And then you start looking at like some of the other teams. Obviously, the Oulton, that's BS competition. You've got Guild Racing here returning and looking quite strong. We've got our Formula Ford top 2 also taking part.
Yes, yeah. So. Yeah, Guild coming back with Remy, who did last season. Leo Brown, new driver for this year. So it'd be really interesting to see how kind of Remy pushes on from a good performance last year. He got a win last year, if I remember correctly. And so I think those drivers will kind of be in the mix as well. And then Henry Moore and Dana Moore coming off the back of being in the top 2 of the UK FF 1600 Esports Cup last season, who kind of have gone from being kind of hobby racers, trying to break into the pro levels, both now been signed to pro teams with Guild for Henry and Apex Academy for Dana Moore. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they go from the FF 1600, obviously no downforce in those cars, very different car to drive, if they can immediately kind of adapt to the world of F4 and high downforce, super close racing, which they are used to, and see if they can come in and kind of be right at the front from the start. I think that will be really interesting. I think fixed setups for this year, which is new, I think that might help those sort of drivers, and also drivers who've been generally further down the grid potentially, to help them kind of get up towards the front or into the mid pack at least. We discussed with the teams after last season around setups, because it's always that discussion point of, do you want open, do you want fixed setups? And a lot of them actually said fixed, even the bigger teams who you might think wanted to be open setups, but they actually said we'd rather just have time for our drivers to get quick with the setup rather than spending loads of time tinkering with the setup and ending up kind of potentially going down the wrong route. They just want to know, right, this is the setup, let's go.
Yeah, I know like a lot of the drivers that I've spoke to coming into this, that a lot of them are feeling a lot more positive about a fixed setup, because I guess they can just like focus on what they're doing on a round and focus on the racing, which obviously at the end of the day is what we want. And having that type out, it's kind of one of those ones that should lean towards it being a much tighter championship fight coming towards the end, to the point where looking at the entry list and stuff, I've got absolutely no idea who's going to come out on top. Is it going to be Williams, BS competition, Ferrari? Could someone else sneak? It's absolutely crazy looking at the entry list and having that as a prospect for us.
Yeah, and I think the close racing, it's been super close the last 2 seasons. I'm like, how can it be closer with fixed setups and more teams hopefully stepping up with that? I don't know how it's going to be any closer, but I'm certainly here for
Probably
it.
will be. Yeah. Obviously, they're not just battling for a little bit of fun. There are prizes up for offer. What's happening on that side of things?
Yeah, so obviously the main part of this from the driver's point of view is the fact that it's an official British Championship. So that means they will go to the Night of Champions that we host every year, which is where the champions of the British Championship go and receive their championship trophy. Presented from like David Richards or Ron Dennis of previous years, and kind of be put on a level playing field with the real world racing drivers, which is exactly where we see esports sitting. It is a motorsport in its own right, it just happens to be online, and we really want to make the driver who wins that field part of that and part of the motorsport community and industry, and not just esports. So that's the main thing that the drivers are competing for. On the teams front, we've actually gone down the route of getting a bit of real world motorsport experience. So Club 100 Karting have joined, and for the top 3 teams, they all get free entries into a number of rounds, the championship, which they can use for their drivers, potentially for staff members if they wanted to. Again, just trying to give back and help with this synergy between the real world motorsport and esports, trying to connect them a bit more, because there's a lot of, you do esports and we'll do motorsport, was actually they should be kind of seen together. Base performance simulators have come back on again to give time in their full F4 simulator. Again, for the top 3 teams, they get free time in that for a day with their engineers, and again, they can either treat it as training or they can treat it as a fun day out and a team bonding exercise, which is great. And this year we've also brought in hospitality at the F4 round of the team's choice, and along with a free ARDS test or license for the winning drive if they want to go down that route.
Nice. There's a lot up for grabs for a lot of these drivers, these teams that will be fighting up towards top end. I think it's kind of one of those ones you said about British Formula 4 Esports kind of trying to be on the same level as motorsport stuff with Night of Champions, and we've kind of seen that a lot in esports as it's grown. Obviously, there's a lot of big names in this championship. Now, before we let the good people go, obviously, where are we racing this season? Got a good calendar heading abroad?
Yes. So the Real World Championship went to Zandvoort in this year, so that has been added to the calendar for the Esports Championship as well, to the detriment of Donington Park National, which I'm going to come out with it was the worst in terms of driving standards last year. So that was the reason it went. Yeah, for some reason drivers can't go through the last chicane at Donington National without hitting each other. So that one got dropped. But yeah, we're still going to the wide-ranging UK circuits from Knockhill to Silverstone Grand Prix. So there should be something for everyone. I'm aware Cadwell is in the game now, or in iRacing now, but that won't be on the calendar.
No, little too hard to do.
Yeah, and it's not part of the real world calendar, which obviously we try and replicate. So I don't think that will be joining the calendar anytime soon.
No. Well, thank you very much, Paul. And
thank you.
Again, hopefully you'll join us for the British Formula 4 Esports Championship this year.